The mystery surrounding Theo Silverton's death has become one of the biggest talking points in Coronation Street following the abusive character's shocking murder last week. During the celebrations for Carla Connor and Lisa Swain's wedding, Betsy Swain made the horrifying discovery of Theo's body in the backyard behind the corner shop. According to comments previously shared by series producer Kate Brooks with Radio Times and other media outlets, viewers will have to wait until late June or July before the killer's identity is finally exposed. Until then, the investigation is expected to place a large number of Weatherfield residents under suspicion in true soap fashion. Earlier this week, George Shuttleworth and Christina Boyd were both brought in for police questioning. Lisa Connor Swain became suspicious after traces of blood were discovered on George's jumper, with George admitting the blood came from an earlier altercation with Theo. Lisa also became concerned after learning George had spent much of the evening walking alone, leaving him without a solid alibi during the estimated time of Theo's death. The official suspect list revealed earlier in the week also includes Todd Grimshaw, Summer Spellman, Gary Windass, and Theo's former wife, Danielle Silverton. In today's episode, attention shifted heavily towards Gary after viewers watched him delete CCTV footage from the builder's yard computer. The footage showed him violently damaging Theo's van before sending Theo a threatening text message. Earlier that morning, Maria Connor phoned Gary after noticing he had left home unusually early. She quickly sensed he was acting nervous and uncomfortable about something. Gary later admitted the truth, confessing he had erased the security footage to stop police from learning what he had done. Although Maria was stunned by his actions, Gary reassured her there was nothing to worry about because the deleted recordings could never be recovered. Later in the day, just before he was due to meet Maria at the bistro, Gary was suddenly taken in for questioning by police. Lisa informed him she already knew he had sent threatening messages to Theo and questioned whether he had also been responsible for destroying the van. Gary denied any involvement and claimed the CCTV system automatically erased recordings every week. However, Lisa warned him that police technicians would still attempt to recover the footage, leaving Gary visibly rattled. Maria eventually supported Gary's version of events by telling detectives the pair had spent the evening together at the builder's yard. While Gary appeared relieved by her support, it was obvious Kit Green remained deeply suspicious of him. Later that evening, Sally and Tim Metcalf looked through selfies they had taken during the wedding celebrations. In one image, Gary could clearly be seen in the background, walking away from the area where Theo's body was later discovered. The discovery has only increased speculation that Gary could be responsible for Theo's murder. Coronation Street viewers believe they may already have solved the mystery surrounding Theo Silverton's murder, and many are convinced the killer is neither George Shuttleworth nor Theo's son Miles. Theo, played by James Cartwright, was killed off last week, with police launching a murder investigation in the latest episodes. While many fans initially suspected Theo's son Miles could secretly be responsible, despite not appearing on the official suspect list, opinions have now shifted dramatically. George Shuttleworth also came under heavy suspicion after being questioned by detectives and later arrested earlier this week. However, a growing number of viewers now believe both George and Miles are red herrings. Instead, fans are increasingly convinced that Summer Spellman is the real culprit. Suspicion surrounding Summer intensified because she was the final person seen with Theo before Betsy Swain later discovered his body. During those scenes, Theo had trapped Summer inside the flat, leading some viewers to wonder whether she acted in self-defense and accidentally killed him during a struggle. Since Theo's death, fans have noticed what they believe are several suspicious changes in Summer's behavior. She has appeared visibly shaken, emotional, and secretive, while also choosing not to tell anyone she encountered Theo that night. Viewers have also questioned why Summer seemed so certain George could not have murdered Theo, with some suggesting she may know more than she is admitting. Many fans have taken to social media to share their theories, believing Coronation Street writers intentionally made Summer and Theo's confrontation appear too obvious in order to distract viewers from the truth. One fan wrote, "I think it was Summer." Another commented, "I think it's Summer. She was terrified of him, and I reckon she unexpectedly found him on the scaffolding, panicked, and pushed him." A third viewer posted, "I think Summer did it," while another added, "Think Summer killed Theo. She's probably struggling to cope with what happened." Other comments included, "I still think Summer killed Theo, and my money is definitely on Summer being the murderer." One final fan confidently declared, "Summer did it. Remember I said it first." With the investigation continuing and more secrets expected to emerge, viewers remain divided over who is truly responsible for Theo's death. Coronation Street has finally revealed where Jodie Ramsay has been hiding following the chaos of Murder Week, though many viewers admitted they are now struggling to stay invested in the storyline. Jodie, introduced earlier this year as Shona Platt's long-lost sister during the soap's crossover with Emmerdale, has caused endless trouble since arriving in Weatherfield and appears determined to destroy life for the Platt family. The ITV soap, famous for experimenting with dramatic storytelling twists in recent years, previously teased that Jodie could become one of several possible murder victims in a flash-forward sequence shown earlier this year. However, it was scaffolder Theo Silverton who ultimately died, while Jodie survived after her failed attempt to seduce David Platt. Before disappearing, she also attacked David's sister Sarah, striking her over the head and leaving her unconscious. Following those events, police launched an investigation into Jodie's sudden disappearance after traces of her blood were discovered at the scene. David later confessed everything to Shona about Jodie's attempts to seduce him, before facing questioning from DC Kit Green, who also happens to be dating Sarah. Detectives had uncovered a voicemail in which Jodie falsely claimed she was rejecting David's advances. Defending himself, David insisted Jodie was unstable and reminded Kit about the incident where she tricked him into believing she was Shona. He argued that her behavior proved she was manipulative and dangerous. Kit responded by pointing out that regardless of Jodie's mental state, her blood had still been found inside the house and nobody had heard from her in days. Later, while David and Shona visited their premature daughter Harper in hospital, it was confirmed police were still holding on to David's phone as part of the investigation. Shona eventually decided to leave Jodie a voicemail, and moments later, the missing woman finally reappeared on screen. In the following scene, Jodie was shown sitting alone on a swing in Weatherfield Precinct with her hood pulled up to disguise herself. As she listened to Shona's message, she smiled to herself before playing the Spice Girls' hit 2 Become 1 through her headphones, with the song then becoming the episode's background music. Since arriving on the cobbles, Jodie has displayed increasingly strange behavior, including stealing random belongings from residents and pretending to be Shona while visiting the hospital. Last week also introduced two mysterious men, credited only as Bloke 1 and Bloke 2, who confronted Jodie at number 8 demanding a USB stick, though viewers still have no idea what information it contains. Fans quickly reacted online following Jodie's reappearance, with many admitting they were confused by the storyline. One viewer argued producers may have underestimated how long audiences would stay interested in a character whose motives and backstory remain unclear, saying her actions rarely make sense. Another fan questioned how Jodie could still be wandering around openly in public if police were supposedly unable to find her, while also wondering whether she had simply stopped showing up to work at the cafe without explanation. A third viewer complained that Jodie appeared suddenly with a major storyline nobody fully understands anymore, adding that most fans had already lost interest. However, they admitted the plot at least allowed David more screen time, which they found entertaining. Others were particularly puzzled by the unexpected use of the Spice Girls song during the episode, One fan questioned why Two Become One had suddenly appeared as background music and wondered whether it was intended as a clue that Jodie still plans to steal David away from Shona. Coronation Street continues on weekday evenings at 8:30 p.m. on ITV1 and is also available to stream from 7 a.m. on ITVX.